I go ahead and call to order this Clark County Board of Education meeting, January 22nd, 2019 draft budget meeting at 6:30. I'd like to welcome all the back row Baptists to our meeting here today. Sorry about your luck there.
Yeah, sit down, because you have a stand up anyway.
Good, thank you. At this time, please stand and recognize a moment of silence.
I would just stop saying.
Now the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We got us some new mics in here today. Actually, they said they pick up on all the whispering, so just be careful down there.
You know me too. I don't really whisper, that's my problem.
All right, first item of our review agenda. Anybody have any changes they want to make to the agenda before we get into the meeting? If not, I'll move for an adoption of the agenda from any board member.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion by Ms. Ritchie.
A second.
Second by Mr. Todd. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good there. Public comments, anything on there? First item up, review and approval of the 2019-2020 draft budget. I hope everyone's had an opportunity to look over that and ask the questions. And just remember, this is just a review, kind of tells us what we've got to be looking for here within the next 3 or 4 months before we make the big decisions on how we're going to take off with next year. So, Ms. Ellis, it's all up to you here.
Okay, as Mr. Peridot said, hopefully you've had a chance to review what you were provided. Again, this is a preliminary look. It is a very conservative forecast at this point. We know very little details. And so at this point, we are pretty much keeping revenues around the same spot. We're not increasing our budget. We are very conservative on the revenue side, and on the expense side, we sat down and talked with every principal and director of the different departments, and basically we're like, what do you need for next year that you don't have to go stand before the board and ask for it, as we've done this year on multiple occasions. We tried to put as much as we could forecasting for the future of what next school year will bring into the budget, which is why you see the expenses have increased. So we based this projection on our revenue, talking with PBA, about a 1.5% increase on our property. And then we used our second month growth factor report, which is actually how our final SEEK for this physical year will come out based on those numbers, and our December 18 child counts for projection at this point. And it is still a 4,000 per pupil right now, so that's showing a decrease in our SEEK based on that combination of numbers. As you all know, the SEEK formula is a little bit convoluted in all of its calculations. So we still are using that calculation that Dr. Bob provided us with in an Excel format. Are there any specific questions you all have? I'm not going to go slide by slide unless that is what you prefer.
I, of course, have some detailed questions, but I don't want to go out of order or jump in front of anyone else. But
I think it's fine.
okay. On the revenues, I was a little confused. I pulled up the financial report that was in our January packet, and it seemed to indicate that the year-to-date tax revenue is $13 million.
I don't have the January document
Okay.
in front of me.
I think in probably the most expedient thing to do, since this is just a draft budget, is I'll go ahead and I'll give you some questions, and if they take follow-up, then maybe you could do that later on. Unfortunately, I had sent an email with some questions, and I think it must have gotten clogged up somewhere, then I thought up a couple more. So I'll try not to bog things down with too many questions at this point. Or what I could do, if you don't mind, Ms. Ellis, that was one of the questions. I'll go ahead and put this in a follow-up email. How's that? See if I
That
have
would
to
be
type it on the
fantastic.
phone. So it seemed like that the projected revenues was actually less than what we're already at a year-to-date basis for this year. So that was one question I had.
Oh, you're set, the actual revenues to what our budget is already. Yes, it has already exceeded at this point.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, I wasn't comprehending
Okay.
your
Well,
question.
I probably didn't phrase it correctly.
Yes.
So that seemed like that was some good news, that we've
Yes,
already,
that is
we've already
fantastic
got
news.
13 million in the bank, and
Yes.
we're budgeting 12.4 million. So we're probably actually, unless people start hauling property out of town,
And at this
we'll come in
point, we
higher
have
than that.
collected the bulk of our property tax.
Okay, whew,
Due
all right.
to
I thought maybe I was looking
timing
at
of
a bad
collections.
number or
Yes.
something like that. So I think there'll probably be a little pickup there. And if you could then maybe email to me, and I'll try to send it to the, your C calculation, because I couldn't come back to that either. I was comparing it to the number you had to what was in the budget in September, and it seemed like you were projecting down about 47 people when I didn't come back to the 684.
Okay.
Did you include me on that email? I was gonna say, if you think you did, I need to see Mike and unblock you, because I'm not getting your email. I've not gotten an email. I got the one about the 12.
You mean take the block off?
I need to call him, tell him to unblock you or something, because I'm not getting your email. We tried it that one day, and it didn't go through, and I'm not showing anything from you again.
I sent it yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I've gone back 3
And I
days.
sent
I
it
did
from
see the
my-
one that you sent today, asking the question about the document from OVEC. And you sent it to Ashley, but I was copied on it, and I saw that one.
Yesterday I sent it from my school email to your school email, so we can talk about that after
Yeah,
the meeting
I'll
too.
keep
Again, I don't
that.
want to drag down the speed of the meeting, especially on a game night. And a question on the CES retirement rate, where there's an increase on that. Did you know what the dollar amount that was?
I don't have that pulled out specifically for tonight's presentation. I've got it in an Excel file on my computer, but I don't have
Okay.
that specific dollar amount for tonight. I just have the total increase for payroll.
And there was a note of tax collection fees increasing $40,000. The tax collection commission, it's 2.25%. Is that the right number? Am I remembering that correctly? Okay, so I probably want to send you something about that also then.
That's based on the property rate going up the 1.5. It has not, we've not increased that budget. Since I've been here, I've just let it roll over at 350,000. But if we're projecting, we had the increase this year of the 1.8, and then we have an increase of 1.5. We're projecting that's about a $390,000 payment in tax collection fees with that 2.25. So we need to increase the budget, that 40,000.
I'll send you something on that. And the other question is really more of a board level question is, in the BG1 for the Phase 3 project, we set aside $3 million, and I believe you transferred that from the general fund over to the construction fund. And now that project has come in less, does it make sense to go ahead and move the difference of $1,013,889
It's
back
already
to the
been
regular?
moved back.
Okay.
You will see that in the reports that you get for this February meeting,
Okay,
that those funds have been moved.
there we go. Good. That's all I could think of, and I'll follow up the rest of the email then.
Other questions, comments? Anyone? Well, it definitely gives us a little bit of a challenge to work with. There's no doubt about that. And I told Alicia earlier that I didn't think anybody could be more conservative than Dr. Bob, but I think she has been, and I don't say that to hurt you too much right there, but I think there are some things in there, but it definitely, we look at this going forward, obviously, there's big decisions that we need to make within the next 3 to 4 months before we nail this down just a little bit further. But thank you for the presentation and getting it started. At this time, we do need a motion to say that we have reviewed the 2019-2020 draft budget.
Make a motion that we have reviewed and approved the 2019-2020 draft budget.
Motion by Mr. Talby,
Second.
second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? 5-0. Item number 4, consider review of the second quarter financial review of the general fund. For our new members, this is something that Ms. Ellis has started doing to kind of give us a quarterly update, kind of gives us a good picture of where we are at that phase of the school year, and gives us a comparison of where we were back. To me, it's big helpful to me. I'm not the numbers person, so it just helps me a whole lot to be able to look at this. So Ms. Ellis, go ahead.
Again, hopefully you've had a chance to review it. Just to point out, as Mr. Heisel did comment, we've already collected as of the December month end 13 million in our property tax, and you can see the prior 2 years we were not quite to that amount of money in percentage yet, so we are above in collections at this point on that. But you can also see right under it our personal service property tax. We last year had collected 1.1. We're only at 185,000 this year, but even 2 years ago we were only at the 136. There really is a timing of how it's collected at the sheriff's office and then given to us to deposit in the month process. So, and that's nothing we have any control over. It's just waiting to get that check and people making their payments. Just another note. In the miscellaneous revenue, you will see it down quite a bit from the prior year. And that's due to last year us having that new way that our bank accounts were insured with the insured cash sweep for the Promontory Network versus being secured by pledges of securities by the bank. And so we were recording that in a revenue account, and it really should have been just a cash account when our auditors came and checked that out for us. And so we have corrected that for this year, and that's why you see that number is substantially less in miscellaneous revenue. Are there any questions on the revenue side?
Do you see the general property tax going up much at all?
I don't foresee, I feel like at this point we've collected the bulk of our property tax. I mean, we might have some stragglers come in and pay and get some more money, but there won't be much more in that category. And on the expense side, and again, this is comparing actuals to budget, and we're at this point a little over 50% through. At December when this was recorded, we were 50% through with the school year. And you can see our numbers are under and just right above 50% on a couple of the different areas. So we're, trending the same way we have the prior 2 years. If you look at that in our spending, again, our budget's a little less this year compared to the prior 2 years, so that makes the percentage just a little bit higher than the prior 2 years at this quarter, but we're still spending right about the same percentage as how we have prior 2 years, so I see that trend continuing.
What's the debt service and miscellaneous?
So debt service and miscellaneous is where contingency is recorded, and our debt service for our KISTA bonds, and we have a couple energy bonds that split the capital side and the general fund side, and so that's debt service and miscellaneous is where those items are recorded. So the budget is very large because contingency is the bulk of that. But the spending year to date, we don't ever spend out of contingency, we move the budget. We're not allowed to actually have an expense, actual expense.
Okay.
out of the contingency budget. So it gets moved to other areas as you all approve items to be spent from that money.
Other questions, comments? We'll entertain a motion then to say that we have reviewed the second quarter financial review for general fund.
I'd like to make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Heisel,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Richardson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. Thank you. Ms. Heisel.
Scott, you gotta sign. You haven't signed it.
All right, item number 5 is discussion of board member goals and focus. And I just thought it would be a good idea for each board member to be able to kind of share, basically, I guess, is why you're here and what are the things that really matter to you that you would like to see the district, what direction you would like to see them go in, how you feel like you can help the best within that, within the district, and just, I guess, just so everybody can kind of get to know where everybody is at this stage of the game. I'll go ahead and start if you don't mind. I mean, to me, you know, my belief is that the most important resource that we have are our employees. I think whatever we can do to ensure our children that we get the absolutely best employees whenever there is a position open, I think that is what one of our main focuses should be, and that's the way I've always did it. In doing so, I don't think it's any secret that every year I've tried to put a raise on the salary schedule. I think it's important that we try to close the gap that we have between us and Fayette County, and not only that, but distance ourselves from the other people around us to make sure that we are the clear choice. Then I think that we have to provide the resources for our teachers within the classroom. I think putting our salary schedule at a place that really cuts down where we're from Fayette County, puts us above everybody else, giving all the teachers all the resources they need to be able to teach, making sure we hire good leaders to create good culture within our building. I think that's the edge that we can have in getting the best employees. So that's really my first and main big focus is trying to be able to do that. You know, when I talk about teacher raises, I tell people, I said, I'm not looking for raises for the people that are here now, no offense or whatever there, but what I want to ensure is that when these people leave, that the best person out there gets in their spot. So that's my reasoning for trying to do that. Also, you know, it's no secret that I'm passionate about the facilities that we've done at the high school, and I just think that this can be a tremendous win for our community. And I just think anything that we can put into those facilities to promote those facilities so that this town knows that they can benefit from those. I just think there's opportunities there for restaurants, businesses, and everybody to benefit from us promoting those. And whatever we can do from this level, I'm not sure of everything, you know, Mr. Christie, but whatever we can do from this level to promote what we have out there, we need to make sure that we do it. So those are, you know, 2 and 3, I guess, whichever you want to do, the biggest things that I really focus on and that I really want to make sure that we do. I can go down district, or somebody can just pop up here and say whatever's next. Okay, I guess you get to go.
Yeah, because you took a couple of mine anyway.
Okay.
And since I've always been the one to back you up on those 2 things, I'm gonna let you have them. My facility salaries, right along with Gordy. Phoenix Academy has always been a big one for me. I would love to see Phoenix Academy expand to elementary and get them younger, and building the preschool. The things that I would love to see. But yes, the athletic fields and all that was a top thing. Just what brought me on board.
So in Phoenix Academy, I guess you were talking, you know, Obviously, the mental health part and everything of being able to, I'm always careful about where you put young kids with older kids. And
That's
those
why,
are
yeah, I
always
would love to
things
see a
you're-
separate building.
Just something that you're looking at.
See, my goal would be, is to build a new preschool, move preschool, put an elementary Phoenix where the preschool is now.
There's one thing something I missed on here. So you got salaries, I got Phoenix Academy, you got preschool. What was the other? Is there another one you had, or is that?
Facilities.
Facilities. Employee rate.
Okay, yeah, okay. Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else?
No.
I'll step in. So, being relatively new to the board, 1 month in, but long time, well, entire life, my family's was, both my wife and my family's raised here, and one of the things that is continuing to develop, and it's in the demographic report that we've seen, is the community's it's not growing. It's kind of staying flat. Our older generation, we're getting more people in that 65 and over, and the reason I ran is not only for the schools and the students and the teachers, but for the community. That's what I want to see. Our school district is the front door to the community. When people want to locate here or thinking of locating here, first thing they do is, well, what's the schools like? What's the facilities like? What's the opportunities for our kids? So I want to see the ATC grow. That's one of the things that I would love to see when I went out there and visited. I think there's a lot of opportunity to offer more career paths for kids that may not want to go to college or may not have the opportunity to go to college. And our trades, our jobs in the tradesman world is it's hard to find a plumber, it's hard to find an electrician, it's hard, so I'd love to see ATC grow, and I think we have room to do that out there. The completion of the athletic complex, I mean, it's going to be great, and it's going to be a showplace for families to come here and say, and go to that high school and say, oh my God, even if their kids aren't in the sports, it's like, look what they've done here for the children. They must be really investing in the children and in the facilities. And with that is the teachers and administrators. We need to keep them local. We need to take care of them and be competitive with other school districts. We're losing too many from what I'm being told and what I've seen in the brief time I've been here. Of course, safety is always a big concern, and anything that we can do reasonably to keep our kids safe and keep the teachers safe, keep everyone safe. I think that's something that we need to continue to evaluate as those items come up.
Okay, I'll go. Well, I'm right in line with a lot of your all's thinking. My passion is children that are very young that need to be taken care of, and so I do like the idea of growing the preschool, the new preschool, and the Phoenix Academy. Of course, I have boys who have both played football, so the athletics facility is going to be great for our community. It's going to help grow. And I'm on the Winchester Main Street Board, and I would love to be the liaison for the school board, to keep them up to date with what we're doing and involve our community so that we're all excited for what's going on and make it a community effort. We have a lot of people that walk the track there and use our facilities even if they don't have children or grandchildren. So, but I want to be good stewards of their money. But I'm right in line with everything you all had to say. You're up.
I'm up, all right. Well, of course, I actually agree with a lot of things. I'll take a little different tack because that's me. First of all, I've been on the board just 2 years, and I want to thank the people in the back row. I want to thank Mr. Christie and the 2 senior board members. You know, we think about the things we'd like to accomplish, but I'm thankful for what's already been accomplished ahead of us. And, you know, that you all have done the work to get us to a point that we can really brag about our school district. And I think we have got the best school district in Central Kentucky, and I'm thankful for those of you all who did the heavy lifting before I got on board to bring us to this point. In terms of the other things, I think we have a lot of overlap. We of course, I'll agree with Gordon with a little bit of a caveat on the salaries. We need to be competitive. Unfortunately, because of our budget constraints and the limit, the amount of additional revenue we'll be in, we'll probably, from my perspective, have to do more of a targeted tweaks of the salary schedules in the next year. Again, that's just my perspective, and certainly other people can have different perspectives. Preschool, yes. Phoenix Academy, the elementary, I think that's an excellent idea because there's certainly, you know, we've got to get them sooner. ATC, I agree, we need to leverage that and sort of ask the question to, you know, that ties together the growth of the community that is, you know, reach out to the business community and say, what do you all need? And try to, it's a difficult thing to match together, to try to match up the needs of the business community with what we can produce here. So when people leave the ATC, they're staying here in town and not going elsewhere. But unfortunately, it's easier said than done. And I think in terms of the marketing, we're well positioned to do it. I'd like for us to maybe have conversations with other entities in town, the city and the county and the folks in development, to really say, hey, maybe we should think about getting an aggressive marketing effort because, you know, if you see what our seat numbers are going down, I think we can get an excellent return from that, and to try to take that up to the next point. And obviously, and you all didn't mention it, but I know you didn't mention it because it's implied. The number one thing that I know all 5 of us and Mr. Christie are concerned about safety. You know, whatever we can do to continue to reevaluate that and make it that we're just as safe as is humanly possible. And I think we can, you know, work together. And again, I think we're in a really good spot. And you know, we're here, and we can take it just one notch higher the next year. And hopefully, all working together with our various idiosyncrasies and different ways, different perspectives, and take it to the next level. And I'm real excited about what's in front of us for Clark County Schools. That's all I have.
Well, just to keep, you know, the discussion going, if there's, you know, anyone else, I think it's pretty obvious that all of us have a big concern for the community and how we get that connection with our kids in the community. And I guarantee these people in the back have probably worked on that time and time again. And I don't know, I haven't looked at new graduation requirements and stuff like that, but at one time they bogged us down so much you couldn't really hardly get out and do anything else. And I don't know if they're loosening up a little bit with that, but you know, I see some of these, and I think one time, Mr. Heisler, you shared with us one time about some things going on in Louisville, about where some kids were getting out working in different places in Louisville. And I think we have to do more than that. And I really, we emphasize, you know, these facilities that we have. We have to realize this has never been done in Clark County ever, where we have all the athletic facilities right there on campus. Never been done. I'm talking lifetime of anybody that's in here, and I probably rank everybody, I'd say, just by looking at what I see. It's never been done. And I just think this is a great opportunity to look at our community people and say, listen, we're providing this for you. Look what this is going to do. And I love the idea of you being liaison there on the of Main Street and being able to try to get those people involved in it. And when they see some of the things that our kids can do, they really will. We've had, I don't know if they still did, but we had 2 welders from the ATC that are working on our building out there right now.
One
They
still is,
walk
one's
right,
hired full-time to
they
come.
walk right out of school, put their stuff on and start welding. that's pretty
One
impressive.
full-time employee. at the
And,
company.
if we got guys like that, girls like that, then why aren't they doing some other things? And we've got to stress that and then make them think, I like this place. They're doing stuff for me. So therefore, I want to, turn around and do something back. And they don't try to get away from here as soon as they can, but they have something to come back to. I really believe our job on the board is that we don't solve today's problems. We try to solve the future's problems. And we have to always be looking ahead all the time. When you're teaching that kindergartner, you're getting that kindergartner ready for the outside world. That's just that time. You're seeing them at that little time. And we have to see that entire picture of how we go about creating, things that we have today that are negatives within this community were created 20, 30 years ago because people did not think, hey, well, we can do this today and this will be fine. And I don't know the decisions they have to make, but I look at some of the facilities we have and it just looks like to me, well, we can do this right now and this will take care of this. Well, it did take care of it in those short 3 to 4 years. But it did. I was always told that when our high school opened up in 63, 64, that they built that high school for 1,200 kids. And when it opened up, there was 1,300 enrolled. I've had people that were at the school, and I want to go back to Linda Ormsby because I think Linda was one of the first people in the high school. I remember her talking about there were so many, there were like production rooms and stuff like that they had at the high school at that time that they couldn't do because they had so many people in the building that they couldn't do the programs that they designed the school for. And so, I have to commend, the work on this. Obviously, we built a state-of-the-art high school that has, great room for growth in there. We've got the facilities out there. There's just some things I think we're doing that can touch the future for a long time. But I think that's the way we have to think all the way through as board members. We have to continue to say, what is going to happen 20 years from now? What's going to happen and what are we doing today to help that? But I think there's some really great ideals in here. Again, we've got a lot of challenges. Obviously, you have to pick and choose, but to me, it's good to hear from everybody. I'll just open it up from there. Anybody else?
Well, I didn't say, the preschool's always, it's one of my main topics as well. I'd like to see the preschool get addressed sooner than later. I think we have that opportunity now since certain things have been approved and moved on. So I know the building's not getting any younger they're in, so I think that's something that I would like to see us address it as soon as we could.
We're going to be putting together a new facility plan group later this year. That new group has to be assembled. We got the new facility plan coming up. That has to be addressed this year. So we'll be developing a 19 members beside myself, a 19-member voting group that will make the decisions on what's next in the facilities. There would be board representation. You all will have select someone to put on that committee.
Do we have to wait till later this year to do that?
Well, I need to find out. I think it's about March that we get the director from KDE to start to assemble the facility plan, but I can call and see if we can go and get started on that.
Just wondering if there's
Anything, if they wouldn't be able to meet until this other committee's timeline is up, otherwise you'd have to reconvene the old committee, because it's a time frame, 2-year time frame in there. So we wouldn't be able to meet until the timeline is up for the old one without reconvening the old, which would be a difficult thing to do, get everybody back up. So it's going to be easier to wait that other 30 days and go to it. But they'll be charged with a lot of the things that you all are talking about, the direction of the facilities and the programs and the ability to implement some of these programs within the facilities. That's a charge for them to do. And it's a 4-year plan that they develop. And I will tell you that the current plan that we have right now, there are no more number 1 priorities on there. They're all being addressed. to the point where there's a point of no return on number one priority. So we're ready to move number 2's up. Tell me, 16 years ago, when you were around then, 16, when we had that facility plan in front of us, I thought there is no way that we'll ever be to a point where we're looking at number 2 priorities. And in 16 years, that's where we are.
Well, I think Paul and I sat on that committee.
Yeah.
I think we looked at each other and said, I don't see how in the world we'll be able to build a high school.
Yeah.
I think it was just, I mean, when you looked at where we were as a district at that time.
Financially and
Financially,
mentally.
you're, and mentally, I mean, you were just kind of beaten down at that time, and, you know, and it wasn't until, you know, the guru Joe Nance came and spoke that I realized, I said, this is a possibility that we can put this together. But when I first looked at it, I thought, I mean, you know, we were sitting there looking at about $20-some million, and I'm like, you can't build a high school for $20 million. I mean, it's just not going to happen. And it was just, and it just all just kept falling together. So there were some people at that
There were some
time.
tough decisions made.
And, you know, I think back to Minnie Spangler all the time, because she was the one that kept telling me it could be done. And I kept saying, Minnie, I don't see it, but I'm coming and I'm for it, but I'm coming. And then eventually, when that presentation came out there, then, you know, it was obvious that we couldn't do it. So, I mean, you know, I think all you got to do is get some good information, and people believe it, and you can make some things happen.
Well, it gives you a sense of pride when we were in Louisville at the conference. The architects had, you know, they all had their best display, and they had GRC there. And it makes you feel good, you know, that you've got something that they're proud of, that they're displaying. So it's good to see.
Several of the conferences that, on their programs that they put together, our high school has been the cover or the back cover, and our kids have been on there. Just, it's a, I mean, different parts of it. It's,
We had an opportunity to walk through the facilities the other day, and it's just impressive just to walk. I mean, even though there's a lot of mud and gravel.
Yeah, there's a lot of
right-
mud.
Right now, yeah. Just tell you, I mean, there was a lot, but I mean, it's just amazing just how big it is and how impressive it looks right now. Now it's just getting better every day. But I mean, I think that's the way we have to think, not only with facilities, but with
Curriculum,
our
everything.
curriculum, our salaries, our employees, everything. We got to think, you know, how can we leave, when we leave from these positions, how have we left this place, and is it going forward? I think that's the most important thing we can do.
Mr. Peridot, do you think we need to actually take the time to tweak the goals that we've had for a while, or are we good just with these general
Well, you know, I
generalities?
definitely think there's some things on there that I think we need to address, just to make sure, because you know, when you write it down, I think it always helps you a little bit. I think it's something that we can work on, maybe, you know, having another session like this again in time of bringing that document back, or passing that document out to everybody, and then kind of passing it around and trying to get us something right there to where we can come in and agree, say this, you know, because I think that was done, what, 15, 16, the last one or whatever, or is that the one?
Yeah, I think we keep changing the date on it. but
Yeah, I think that's
got
what
some
it is.
carryover.
yeah, it originally started in, but we changed, the goals have changed somewhat on there, but then for some reason that's the date stayed on the
Right,
document.
yeah, I think, you know, I
The goals
think
are different.
it would be a really good idea for us to actually write some things down, and, you know, and then other people can see it, and it kind of holds us accountable as well when we go about making our decisions as well. Other discussions, anyone? Anyone from the back pew? Y'all want to say anything? Wake up, back here. Hey. Yeah, so you got called on, you think you're going to, didn't you? If, I don't know where I got this. If there's
on the packet from the first meeting this year.
nothing else, we'll move on to our next item. Everyone, we're going to closed session there, so if you want to move on out, feel free to. Or you can sit in the hallway till we come back. If you want to. That's fine with me. Item number 6.